Hey guys, it's Dusky Arts, and today I'm going to talk about a little bit of a lighter topic. My topic today is going to be on character design, and specifically I'm going to talk about the responsibility that you have if you create characters. And this is something a lot of us don't talk about, but I think it's extremely important. So let's begin. Oh, by the way, there is a trigger warning here. This is a topic that pisses people off. And so if you're someone that is easily offended because you're very defensive of your characters, then watch this with a grain of salt. Also, I do have a background in character creation and design. I have a degree in media arts, and I've been doing this for a very long time. That said, my opinions, my thoughts, they are not the end-all be-all. I definitely encourage you to go out and seek your own advice from various different sources. So let's talk about responsibility in character design. I've noticed in this fandom, there are a lot of wish fulfillment characters, what we call Mary Sue. And there's a lot of people who just plaster stuff onto their character and use their characters as a billboard for all of the things that they might like or be interested in. And the problem with doing that is it's cringy as hell. It feels like an I'm 17 and this is deep moment, right? And if you have this character that you're using as kind of your front page, meaning that that's the first thing people see in any like online space when they interact with you, then you're selling yourself in a very bad way because people are associating that with you. So this is going to lead to bad interactions. This is going to lead to situations where you might get trolled. This is going to lead to situations where friends feel a little bit taken advantage of when you're asking them to engage with stuff and they don't want to. Like, they may love you but have absolutely no desire to get involved in your characters and your writing because you didn't do your due diligence to make it good, right? So we have a responsibility to build characters that have a core. And why do we have that responsibility? Why can't I just make whatever I want? Well, you can to an extent. You should absolutely do something that fulfills you. But with that said, if it was all about you, then you wouldn't need to draw or write or create anything because it's already been created in your head. You can just watch it anytime you want, right? I have a movie screen in my head. It plays all the time. Why would I bother to put anything out if it wasn't for other people? I'm doing this for an audience. I want my stuff to be received, right? Well, that's the thing. You're looking at an audience and you're looking at how are they going to receive it. And every single one of these people that say, I don't care, then turn around and say, could you give me advice? Well, that's because you want it to be received. Lastly, though, every single person that says, I don't care, but could you give me advice, will get mad if I give them advice that they don't want to hear. And that speaks to a level of selfishness and immaturity. When you are designing, it is a vulnerable thing. You are putting yourself out there and you're putting yourself into a character. And that really is not something that everyone can do. So there's a number of reasons to have a character. It can be for a personal avatar that you express yourself through. A lot of furries do this. It could be for a role-playing character. It could be for a character that you're going to be using as part of a bigger project, or even the protagonist of a bigger project, like a story, a game, whatever. It could be a brand advertisement of some kind. But whatever your character is, whatever they're being used for, you want to avoid a character that comes off as insufferable, that comes off as having all of the traits and features of the artist and the writer attached on the surface. That looks like a 17-year-old's room where the walls have no space left because they're covered in posters stapled upon posters stapled upon posters. You don't want that. You want a character that has a self, an identity. They could be like you. They could be reflectant of you. But they have their own self. They have their own identity. They have their own core. And this leads into another problem that I see, and that is attaching coolness points. I have somebody that I just talked to that had a very gothic vampire novel sounding, like, think Underworld type first name. And they wanted advice on whether or not they should give this very Japanese, like Takahashi type last name. And it's just like, no, you absolutely should not. But if you do, if that's something that you're not willing to budge on, you have to argue for that. That is something you must have. then you better damn well come up with a good reason for it that you can then present and have your audience suspend disbelief for. Otherwise, your stuff is going to be received poorly. The other thing is powers, abilities. God, if I had a dime for how many people came out of nowhere and said, I bet my character could kick your character's ass. My character's a lightning type thunder god. Or something, it's just ridiculous. And it's like, dude, I don't care. I never asked for that. Why do you feel the need to be machismo through your online character? That's just, wow, what that says about you. Do you live in your mother's basement? Really? Tell me you live in your mom's basement and have never had an adult relationship without telling me that. Seriously. And I'm not meaning that to be mean. I'm saying take some care when you create your characters. Remember that whatever power or ability or culture or name that you attach to those characters, it's not original. There's dozens of other people who've done it already. And so if that's all you got, then you're a weak designer. You look weak and people see it. And you know what people do with weak people is they go after them. You're setting yourself up to be trolled. You're setting yourself up to be seen as a stereotype. But worse yet, your friends, the people that love you, they're now put in a position of going, do I tell them? Do I tell them and deal with the fact that they might be really pissed at me and they might be vicious to me? Or do I continue to just pat their ass and say, oh, it looks great, it's awesome? So I have some intersectionality with that quite a bit, actually. That's happened to me a lot. But one specific one I'll talk about is something that I've bit my tongue on for a long time, years actually. I had a so-called friend that I consider more of an acquaintance, but we knew each other and talked pretty often for like years. And I had posted in a previous video kind of about this relationship coming to an end because I got tired of constantly being sort of clandestinely attacked and shut down whenever I had an opinion. And a lot of the times that I was attacked and shut down, this person was shoving their work, their writing, under my nose and asking for opinions, and then getting mad that my opinion was not the opinion that they wanted. And since I'm no longer really, trying to keep this person happy, I might as well come out and say it. This person has some of the worst writing I've ever read. I've read the Empress Teresa novel just because everyone said it was laughably bad. And yeah, let me tell you, if you don't know about it, look it up. But look it up with a warning. You're going to want to rip your hair out. You really are. Well, her writing is on par with that, if not worse. And they walk around and act like they're a big shot because they've been published. Well, they haven't been published. Not really. They published through Amazon on their own. They're responsible for selling their own copies. They don't have any publisher that's willing to take a risk on them because there's no risk to take. They're not willing to listen to critique. They're not willing to improve their work. It's terrible work too. Absolutely terrible. And they think they're God's gift to the very fandom. They make videos where they wear a fursuit head, they don't move, and they talk in a monotone, criticizing other writers in the fandom and act like their own shit doesn't stink. And I'm just so tired of listening to that kind of stuff. And I'm not meaning to beleaguer a point about this person. I'm not meaning to unleash my own emotions about this. What I am telling you guys this for is to make the point that you need to think about your audience. You need to think about giving your character depth. It's not about how cool your character is. Your character will be cool if they have depth, if they have a core, if you have thought about your audience and thought about what would be received, and you have also put your true self into that character. Your true self is not all the shit that you like and admire. Your true self is more your personality, your trauma, your struggles, your joys, the things that are at your core. If you put a piece of your core in your character and then build your character up from that, and then once you're at the surface, once your character has a solid core, then you sprinkle on a few coolness points, then people will suspend disbelief for that and say, whoa, your character's a next level psionic? Holy cow, that's cool, because I really find I identify with your character, not because you told me your character was a next level psionic. Okay? So I think the reason this bothers me so much is here in the furry fandom, we participate in a fandom that is driven by independently created characters and stories. And the thing is, the way in which you interact with this fandom primarily is to create a character. So you're doing yourself a terrible disservice if you create a Mary Sue, if you're selfish with your character design. You also create a disservice to your friends because you're going to shove those characters under your friends' noses and put them in awkward positions where they're either going to have to lie to you or tell you the truth that you're not going to like to hear. So, there's an etiquette thing there too. Like, don't shove things under people's noses that you don't want to hear the gospel truth on. Make sure that your shit doesn't stink before you ask somebody to sniff it. Seriously. I'm sorry that analogy is fucked up, but there it is. Even if you're somebody who feels more comfortable interacting through the face of your character than in direct form, you still have to have some social graces. Cheers.